Hello, food forest ecologists, and welcome back to the garden. This one's going to be about leafy greens. Leafy greens are so important to have in your diet, so good for you. And we have, I don't know, maybe over a dozen here in Central Florida that I wanted to go over in this video, and not just to identify and cover them, but to talk about sort of the way you can use them besides just eating them. And just to give my opinion on, the value of each different one. So I want to start out with sweet potatoes. Sweet potato leaves are perfectly edible. Sweet potatoes grow really well here, and will often grow all winter long and year round. Obviously, sweet potatoes are tasty and delicious and highly nutritious, but when I'm first starting out a new food forest, I will often plant sweet potatoes and actually leave them in the ground. In other words, I'll let that sweet potato feed my food forest rather than feeding me directly. It still feeds me, it's just indirectly by feeding the rest of the food forest first, and then I'll, someday those nutrients end up in something like a persimmon fruit or something. So it still feeds me, even if I let it rot in the ground. But it's a really good way to get some organic matter going in this sandy Florida soil, is just let these sweet potatoes start going all over the place, and everywhere that vine touches the ground, it's a possible spot where it could sprout some roots and make another sweet potato below ground. So yeah, sweet potatoes, excellent, one of the best. This next one here, this is chaya. This is a tropical small tree. Could be pruned down like a shrub. Chaya, I think, is the only one on this list today that's going to be one you must cook. You can't eat this one raw. It's supposed to be highly nutritious. It's actually one of the most commonly eaten leafy greens worldwide. Not so much in the United States, but worldwide. It's very, very popular and consumed by, I think it's safe to say, billions of people. It is tropical. Here in Central and North Florida, it will freeze down all the way to the ground sometimes, but rarely will the roots freeze. So it's one of these root hardy tropicals. And that's what I'm beginning to believe is the only kind of tropical that's going to work that great for me here. Either that, or if they're not root hardy, at least very small tropicals that I can grow in a pot and move into the greenhouse for the winter. But so that's chaya. It's pretty easy to grow. Just throw it in the ground, it does well. It's also very easy to propagate by cuttings. Let's see, next one. How about this one? It's not the best example, but that's cranberry hibiscus, and it's a shrub. All hibiscuses are supposedly edible. This is the green one. So this green one and that red one are the same exact species. They're just sort of different colors of the same species. They both have leaves that are delightful to eat raw. Tastes like cranberries. This green one has much more intense flavor than the red one. They have pretty flowers that are also edible. They're good shrubs to have in the food forest, but they are not cold hardy, so frost will get them. These have been hit pretty good by the frost. So again, it's one of those that's root hardy though, even if it dies back. One thing though about this plant is it's not a very long-lived perennial. If you get 3 years out of one of these, you're doing good. Let's move on to the next one. In here we've got Okinawa spinach. This is identifiable by the purple on the back of the leaves. Some of those older leaves don't have it, but you can see the younger leaves have a lot of purple on the back. They're actually very pretty plants. They make an excellent plant for the herb layer. They're root hardy here, so they kind of make an excellent layer that's a little bit higher than the ground cover layer, but a really good thick herb layer, which helps provide some frost protection. It's similar to mulching a plant to protect it from freezing. If you just grow a bunch of this around the plant, it offers that kind of protection as well. This plant I find to be very tasty. My wife doesn't care for it because it's kind of mucilaginous, but I'm kind of weird that way because I like to eat raw okra. And everybody freaks out about how slimy okra is, but I'll just munch on 3 of them a day easily during the summer when they're growing. And very nutritious and good for you. But a lot of people don't like that slime, and if you're one of those people, you might not want Okinawa spinach. But it's very easy to grow, very easy to propagate by cuttings. Let's see, let's go to this next one over here. This is Brazilian spinach, also known as sisu spinach. Let's get over here to it. This plant, very similar to these other tropical leafy greens. It's pretty root hardy, but it is a tropical plant. This would be an excellent candidate to grow in a pot and move into the greenhouse for the winter to protect it. It's a tasty little leaf. One thing to know about this though is if you grow it in full sun here in Florida, the leaves get really fibrous and difficult to eat. So if you grow it in more of a shady spot, you got a better chance of getting some nice tasty tender leaves. Full sun, and it's next thing you know, every one of the leaves is like eating a piece of cardboard. But it's a good plant. I like it. Easy to grow, easy to propagate by cuttings. It takes a little bit longer to get the roots going on the cuttings than some of these other ones, but if you're patient, it'll get going. Let's keep going. There's so many here. Well, how about moringa? There's some moringa right there, and it's a tree. It's highly nutritious. It's supposed to have all the essential amino acids. I think a lot of that's been kind of debunked as far as your body's going to make a lot of those amino acids anyway, so you don't really have to eat them in a moringa. But anyway, moringa's a small tree. It's root hardy here in Central Florida. The top will die back though from freezing and frosty weather. A lot of people will dry the leaves and powder them and then just use the powder for teas or to add to soups. I like to just add the green leaves to soups and lightly to a salad. To me, they kind of give me a little bit of a burning sensation in the back of my mouth when I eat it raw, if I eat too much. If I just put a few of them lightly on a salad, it kind of gives it a peanutty taste. And that reminds me of another plant that has a definite peanut flavor. Let's go to the greenhouse on this one. And this is katuk. I think I posted in a video before that I was going to try to keep my bananas up, even though they got burned by the frost, to protect my katuk. But I'm going to do another video on my whole position about tropical plants here in this area. But I've changed my mind on that, and I've decided I'm going to keep katuk in a pot. And I pruned this one back a little bit because I transplanted it into this pot. This is one of my favorite. These leaves are really delicious. They taste like peanuts. They don't create that burning sensation I get from the moringa. These can be eaten raw or cooked, either one. While we're in the greenhouse, let's just go over some of these that I have potted up. So even though I have these plants growing out in the garden, they could burn from the next freeze. So if that happens, I've got them in pots here. And that's, here's one, longevity spinach. And I'll go back out to the one that's in the yard in a minute and discuss that one. And there's the Okinawa spinach and the green and the red cranberry hibiscus. This is a plant that can't see really well out in the garden anymore. This is called Suriname spinach. There's one, and there's one. Suriname spinach is not my favorite of all these. I like the flavor, I like the taste of it. It's rather bland, really doesn't have much taste or flavor. I don't find the leaves to be really mucilaginous like Okinawa spinach as much. But as a plant, it's it bolts to flowers. It doesn't seem to be a very long-lasting perennial. So, and I don't know, it doesn't grow as thick and robust as Okinawa spinach or longevity spinach. Let's go out here to longevity spinach. Longevity spinach and Okinawa spinach both are excellent for the herb layer of a food forest. Here they are together side by side. Okinawa there, longevity here. And so these are obviously great at building your soil, shading the ground. And with both of these, anytime you want a little snack, and just pick a leaf and they're tasty. Longevity spinach is okay. It's not my favorite. I don't like it as much as Katuk. I actually like Okinawa spinach better as just as a little snack. I would prefer to cook longevity spinach. So, you know, chop it up a little bit and throw it in a minestrone soup. It's pretty good. It's an excellent substitute for actual spinach. Okay, so have we covered them all? There's so many leafy greens that you can grow in these warm temperate or subtropical areas. And I'm sure I probably missed something. Let's just take a quick look around the garden and see if we can locate something right quick. That is an edible leafy green. Okay, this is a taro, and there are some taros that, you know, most taro you would eat the root. There are some taros that you can eat the leaves. This one, I'm not even sure if you can eat the root or the leaf, so I'm just growing this as a, you know, just as a plant that looks nice in the landscape and that I might use for chop and drop, because I just don't know for sure what it is. I got it from somebody on Facebook Marketplace, and, you know, who knows what it is. But I picked it up for next to nothing, so. But yeah, there are taro leaves that are edible. We've used them before to make where you wrap a leaf, you know, a dish where it's a leaf wrapped around whatever, you know, rice or whatever. It works well for that. And of course, you can grow things like, you know, sweet basil, which we like to put in a lot of things, a lot of Italian dishes and stuff. We've got that here. More leafy greens. I mean, you can grow for 2 or 3 years. You can usually get an Italian parsley plant to grow. Not really a leafy green, but the Mediterranean bay laurel, which is used for seasoning. It's nice. Cabbage. Now we're getting into some of these annual plants. Cilantro there, and arugula. This is, I'm just gonna call this wild mustard. These are my plants that I collected the seeds in Oregon, and it's a wild brassica. One of the more common names for the wild brassicas is just wild mustard. And it's actually a couple of different forms in here. There's this type that looks like red Russian kale, and this other type that looks more like a collard. But I'm just gonna call these wild mustard. They are absolutely delicious. I've been just picking these little baby greens. Has a really nice, mild, mustardy flavor. Wonderful stuff. So I guess that's about it. I might have missed something. There's so many leafy greens in the garden. They're good to have. And of course, just regular Mediterranean oregano there. I guess Cuban oregano is edible. I don't know, to me it smells kind of funky. It's a little off smelling to me, so I don't actually eat that. Garlic chives is nice, very tasty. We've been harvesting that, that's why it's so cut back. We've been using it in lots of dishes, soups and things. Oh yeah, there's, I forgot about society garlic. Let's go back here to the society garlic. It's not actually garlic, but it sure tastes a lot like garlic. And it's called society garlic because it doesn't make your breath smell like garlic when you eat it. And I've got some dried up old leaves in here. But yeah, society garlic. That's just a small one. Hopefully that'll get growing and get better looking. Anything out here that's a leafy green? I can't think of anything if there is. So, but anyway, that's a good rundown. We'll be doing another video soon about some decisions we've made regarding the tropicals. And you can see the garden looks more bare because we've been doing a lot of mulching, and that'll be in the next video. All right, y'all, that's all for now. Take care, y'all.